So, in 2 months, a lead from 18 down to a lead of 4. I mean, is that unprecedented as your time as a pollster? I know a lot has changed, most notably the candidate for one, but do you think that that also indicates that Iowa could be in play in November?
I don't know what it indicates going forward. There are many, many things that the campaigns are going to do to try to influence these numbers. So that's a little hard to predict what will happen. Though I've been polling Iowa for a long, long time. So when you say is it unprecedented, I go back to the first general election that I worked the Iowa poll for when I was on the staff of the Des Moines Register, and we had Michael Dukakis with a big lead in the summer. Don't ask me to recall exactly those numbers, um, but it was a big lead. And that we weren't the only place that was showing that. And as you know, Michael Dukakis did not end up winning that election. So strange things have happened. But I'm going to say this is the biggest cluster of strange things that I can remember in my lifetime.
Where are you seeing the divide when it comes to gender? I know that you said more women are more excited for Kamala Harris. Can you break down those numbers a little bit more for us?
Well, this election has a sizable gender gap. It is, if I forgive me while I look at my notes, with men it's 59 to 32, Trump leading. With women it's 53 to 36, with Kamala Harris leading. There are even bigger differences when you look at dads versus moms. It's a relatively small group, but men who have children under the age of 18 go go bigger for Trump, and it's a little narrower among moms. So I'm always kind of imagining what's happening in these households where you've got a dad and a mom, and they're yet dividing on the way that they're thinking about the candidates.
Talk to us a little bit more about the undecideds as well as those independent voters. Where have you seen the biggest change from June until now as we sit less than 50 days from Election Day?
Both polls had very low in not sure voters, which is how we say you're undecided. We write you down that way. They're really relatively low. So it's, to me, when I say it's people have got their minds made up, who they support, it's whether they're going to vote. So being more undecided about whether they're going to take the time to go vote, if they're going to sometimes they just leave the top of the ticket blank because they don't like both candidates. I will say one of the things we looked at in June was the double haters. That's become fashionable to call them that, which are people who disliked both candidates. So your Venn diagram, the people in the middle of that. And we were able to say they leaned toward Biden in our last poll. In this poll, we don't have enough of them to take a look. So that's significant that you don't have people hating both the way we did just a couple of months ago.
That's really interesting because this whole election season, a lot of my conversations have been we're voting for the lesser of two evils, if you will. But who's more enthusiastic about their candidate, the supporters of Kamala Harris or the supporters of Donald Trump?
Yeah, it's 80% or more of Kamala Harris supporters who say they are very, extremely or very enthusiastic. And I think that number is closer to 75, 74% for Donald Trump. So you've got a reversal. We commonly see that Trump supporters, however you measure their level of enthusiasm or engagement, they typically come in, stomping on the other candidate, whoever that might be. And so that's a switch from what we normally see, that it's the Democratic candidate that's generating the enthusiasm.